Hey everyone, welcome back to West Coast Mopars. So this is a 64 Chrysler Newport that I bought from a guy down in Victoria. And I actually bought it quite a few months ago, and he was super nice, said he would hold on to it for me till I figured out how to get it home. But I didn't want to waste his time completely, so we just went and got it yesterday. But yeah, it's pretty neat actually. It's a two-door hardtop. It's got a 361, and it's push button, automatic, because it's a 64. The push button, I think, ended in 64. 65 was a column shift, but they still used a cable in the transmission. 66 went to linkage. But anyways, it's got some really neat lines on it. You know, the sort of the curviness here. The fenders are in amazing shape. It was obviously repainted because the clear coat's peeling off, and this wouldn't have had a clear coat in 64. But it's a really cool car, actually. I wasn't sure. I actually didn't look at it. I just saw it online and told the guy I would take it and sent him the money, which isn't my normal way of doing things, but I'm glad that I got it here. He did mention that the only other person that was seriously interested was a guy who wanted to derby it, and because it's not running. It's actually, the plates say 1998, so that was the last time it was insured. That was like 27 years ago. And it's from Victoria. Well, there's a bit more history on it that I've discovered, but it's been in Victoria for a while. But yeah, what a shame it would be to derby this car. I mean, it's such a great project. It's super complete too. It's not missing anything. But yeah, we'll just sort of do the walk around here, and then basically it needs everything. It needs brakes. It doesn't run. It needs a fuel system gone through. You know, the usual. Interior cleaned up, etc. But it's actually pretty good. I mean, it's got some rips in the seat, and the headliner's falling down back there. You can see it's falling on the back seat there. But it's actually pretty good. The dash pad's like perfect. Everything's here. It was ordered with a clock, so it's got all the gauges. It's got the trip meter up in the speedometer here. It's got the extra, see where it rolls over. You can check your trips. Yeah, it's got an AM radio. That's the ashtray sitting there. But it's got the dress-up kit on the pedals. The door panels are fancy. It's got inserts in the seats. The bows on the headliner. Like, it's actually pretty cool. I've got the hubcaps for it too. I'll see if I can dig one out here. They're actually kind of neat. It's got like that center emblem that would be in the steering wheel as well. It's on the hubcap, so I'm definitely gonna put those back on and rock the hubcaps. Looks like somebody maybe changed the carpet at some point, unless that's original. So it's definitely got some neat stuff. It's got seat belts in the front. It's got this neat side trim. I love the taillights in it. Years ago I did have one of these. It was a 64 300, and it was a four-door hardtop with a 383. And there's the tag, 1998. But I was working on it, and a guy came by to get some parts from me. It was a nice car, just didn't run. And he loved it. He kept telling me he had to have it, so I actually traded it to him. And he was supposed to give me a bunch of parts. And in the end, I basically got screwed, and I got a torn down 383, and that was it. And I thought, well, I may as well have just kept the car. What a waste of time that was. But this thing, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's got some issues. You know, it's got some rust down at the bottoms. The bottoms of the quarters are going, but like the wheel lips are pretty good. But it's pretty good. It's better than I expected. And it's got an 8 3/4 in the back with the tapered axles, so you got to use a hub puller to pull them. There's a little piece of trim missing on the driver's side there, but it is in the car. And then under the hood here, this is the 361. It's a 2-barrel, and you can see the mice have been living on the intake for a while, so we'll have to see what we discover there. But it's like somebody's put in this aftermarket proportioning valve. It's been upgraded to a dual master, and there's a couple things attached to the ballast resistor. So I seen that I noticed it's got 2 wires coming out of the distributor, and I thought, oh, somebody's put electronic ignition in it, thinking I was looking for like a Chrysler box, but it's actually got a Pertronics in it. So somebody's already been in here, and I don't know, maybe they couldn't get it running and they put the Pertronics in, or maybe it was running with the Pertronics. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I haven't really dug into it. It does turn over by hand. I haven't tried cranking on it with a key, but it's definitely got potential. And it's got an extra rear bumper over here, because the one on the back of the car is pretty dinged up, and this one's really straight, so I'll definitely change that out. I don't have keys, so I can't get in the trunk, so who knows what's in there. It could be anything or nothing, but maybe we'll find some good stuff. I might have to pull the back seat and climb through and see what's in there. But yeah, what a neat car. 63, 64 Chryslers were these body styles, and you know, they were interesting. A lot of guys didn't like them, but this one in the 2-door hardtop, I think it actually is a nice looking car, and it's not humongous. Like, I love this in the grille. So when the hood's down, you can't see the hood latch. You actually push this in so you can get to the hood latch. So like, interesting little details like that. It's really straight, actually. All the trim looks really good. The chrome looks good. So it's got no papers though, so I'll have to send away for the lost registration and that whole thing. But I'm excited about this one. So then the other neat thing is I had opened the glove box, just wondering what was in there, and there's actually 2 owner's manuals here. Now this is the warranty book, and this is the owner's manual. And the neat thing is these actually say Anderson Motors, Seattle, West Alaska Street, Seattle. Now that's interesting, because as I was going through the paperwork, I found, here's the original build sheet from '64. It's got the same serial number on it as the owner's manuals. Anderson Motors. And so here it says 64 Chrysler Newport, ordered with the basic group, which is a radio, heater, power steering, power brakes, lights. Safety group, padded dash pad, yada yada, remote outside mirror, glare-proof window, torque flight automatic, front and rear air foam seats. I've never heard of that, air foam seats, but they are quite comfortable. Electric clock, tinted glass, rear bumper guards, wheel covers, those nice hubcaps, antifreeze, hood molding, and 8x14 tires. So somebody ordered this car, and the purchase price was $3,955. So this is really cool that it's still in the car. I can't believe it's still in there and not eaten up. And then there's a whole bunch of receipts and stuff. I'll sort of just go through here. There was a bunch of like old maps and stuff from a museum in Alberta. There's an old postcard here. It's got the guy's name on it. His buddy went to Mexico and sent him a postcard. And then here, this is the insurance papers. So from Ladysmith, but it says here the guy that bought it new was an engineer for the U.S. Army of Engineers in Alaska. And this insurance is from 1964. And then I won't go through all of it. There's also the original bill of sale in here. Just see if I can find it here. Here it is. Anderson Motors, Seattle, 1963. I hereby place a firm order for 164 Chrysler Newport 2-door hardtop. And then it lists all the options, the purchase price, received a $100 deposit, 1963. So just to have this paperwork with the car is incredible. I never end up with a car with this much original paperwork. Another map, British Columbia and Alaska. So from what I gather, the car was ordered new in Seattle, and then the guy moved to Ladysmith and imported the car in like the early 60s. Because the import papers were, I think, from 1966. So it's got everything. All the paperwork's here. It was all in the glove box. So that's very cool. Just to have the original documentation, and you sort of get an idea of where the car's from and what its history was. And yeah, so I'm excited to just go through this and put it back on the road, make it a driver. And I'm so happy that I got it now. With now you see all this paperwork, you know the history of it, that it didn't get derbied. That we're able to save it. And one of the things in this paperwork shows you, it actually talks about those front seat belts. They were ordered by the dealer. Like he had ordered them through the dealer to put the seat belts in, because seat belts were not mandatory until 1965. So being a 64, he had to ask the dealership for those seat belts. Okay, I just started to run the pressure washer over it, and it's going to be hard to tell exactly, how nice the car could be, because all that white, it's all, I think it's underneath. It's like the paint has sort of blistered off, and maybe a poor prep job or something. It might have been a quick respray, who knows. It's really showing up now because the car's wet, but when the car's up here, I haven't done up here. Wow, no, it's going to show up. Look at this. Look at the hood. But it is what it is. I don't plan on painting the car. It'd just be nice to save it, make it a driver, and someone else can deal with it. But yeah, all the clear's peeling. This is the clear blistering, but up here the clear's gone, and just left with all that caulking and stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna spray the car down, get rid of all the grime. Yeah, when I did manage to get the trunk open, I had to drill the lock. I didn't have any keys that fit it, and that's alright. I've got other trunk locks with keys, I'll replace it. But there wasn't much in here. There's instructions for the Pertronics that's in the distributor. The wiper arms are here, that's good. The jack assembly, spare tires, nothing. Really nothing back here. A little bag of, random springs and bulb holders and stuff, but other than that, that's pretty much it. So that's okay. We'll just get this car cleaned up, and I like to start with a clean car. That way when I put it in the shop and I'm picking away at stuff, I'm not fighting my way through grime and dirt. Okay, so I pressure washed it this morning, but I obviously missed some spots right here on the door. I'll scrub it down later with some soapy water and stuff, but it definitely cleaned up a lot. You can see on the trunk lid there on the right side, kind of right there where I missed a bit. Don't mind the piece of wood. The trunk lid stays open if you don't keep it down with something, but all in all, I mean, it's definitely got potential. When it was wet this morning, man, it looked good. So maybe right now even, there's definitely some shine to it. I think I'll take I've got a buffing wheel. I'll probably try and wax it and see if I can clean it up a bit. Unfortunately, around the quarters here, just on this side actually, quite a lot of filler that's cracking, and so it probably had, someone like me, some amateur body work done, and someone obviously paints probably a little better than me, but this side too, it's got some filler there. Down the bottoms come off. That's okay. These are the cars that I actually really like. These just these sort of drivers that you can tinker on as you go, and they don't have to be a full-blown project that takes 20 years to see the road, like my wagon over there. But I've just been messing around the carb a little bit, playing around with it, and it did get it to flash off here, so I'll show you guys. I'll put some gas down in the vent there, and yeah, let's see if we can fire it up. So this is actually my chainsaw gas here. I just put it cut the top off a beer can and sort of pinch it. Makes for a great little, a great way to pour it into the vent. So there's the vent hole there, and you just sort of try and fill the bowl. It's probably getting full there. And I got, like, to whatever I got left, just pour a little bit down the throat there. And then I've already got the key on, so I'll just bypass the starter relay here. So it's, you go from the big stud to the little screw there. Give it a couple. I don't know if the accelerator pump works, but oh man, it's even charging the battery. That's a good sign. I don't have any other gauges yet, but it's only obviously the gas gauge is reading empty, but maybe the gas tank's empty. Oh yeah, it just stalled there, so I don't think it's pulling fuel. There's probably not even gas in the tank, but that's an excellent sign. At least it's a runner. I don't have to mess with that Pertronics or try and find that we got a dead coil or anything like that. So I'm definitely going to do, I ordered a whole bunch of parts. I've got plugs, wires, you know, all the ignition stuff, a carb kit, valve cover gaskets, you know, belts, stuff that, you know, a thermostat, stuff that's going to, after sitting forever, it's going to not be good. I ordered a master cylinder, a dual master, because that's what's in here, wheel cylinders. I ordered hoses, like brake hoses, a whole bunch of stuff just to make this a safe driver. And we'll just do the usual, go through it, check the drums. If I need to turn them, I do have that brake lathe. I don't know what these tires, kind of shaky tires. Oh, they're bad. So they're all split down the middle. So I'll see. I do have some 14-inch, I think I got a set of 14s in the back that have been, just unhook that. The key's still on. I don't want to burn that coil out, but I've got a set of 14s, I think, in the back that I could probably make use of on this thing. And or I do have a set of 15s, because I got a good set of 15-inch tires that are pretty skinny, so I could put them on here. But regardless, we'll just go through it like we always do and try and make a nice driver out of it. Much better than getting derbied. This thing's way too cool. Okay, so I spent a little bit of time wiping down the interior. I vacuumed the carpets. I can't tell. I'm pretty sure this carpet's been replaced. It's way too nice to be original. It's not all tattered and old and gross. But it's pretty good. And then the seats, they were super grungy. And, you know, the headliner's falling down in the back there. So there was all this foam and stuff from the headliner on the seats. So I just vacuumed it out. And I used this Spray 9. I used a Spray 9 cleaner. It's just a heavy-duty cleaner. And a couple rags, like microfibers. And just scrubbed it down. Look at the door panel, came really nice. I mean, if you get up close, it's still got some grunge in it. I'll have to spend some more time on it, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Look at this cool ashtray here too. This is pretty neat design. It sort of flips up, but these seats, so I was looking at pictures of 64 Newports and watching a bit of videos on them. It looks like these seats are probably original. That center medallion is in a lot of the, like there was one on YouTube with 56,000 original miles, original seats, and it had the same pattern and the same center part. So I would guess these seats are original. You can see there's definitely some wear in the corners. The driver's side has that big tear there. That's too bad. But all in all, I mean, you push on them and they're squishy still. They're not cracking, right? Like a lot of cars I've got, you go, oh wow, look at the seats, and then you sit on them one time and they just crack because they're so old. But yeah, and I cleaned up the dash pad. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna see if I have any sun visors upstairs in my parts, because these are pretty old and crusty. Even if I don't have like these cardboard style ones, if I just have some vinyl that's white, I'll put them up here if they fit. The steering wheel is in okay shape. It's got a couple cracks, but I think all in all, considering what it looked like when I got it, it's cleaning up pretty good. Look at those door panels back there. Same with this side. So yeah, I'll figure out, I'll probably just use like some, I mean it sounds bad, but use some white duct tape and try and tape that headliner back up. I don't want to cut it out. I don't want to have a big missing piece, but it doesn't, it's so old and shrunk that it won't reach the other piece. So we'll just try and do the best we can. Alright, I was having an issue where you'd shut the door, but you couldn't open it again unless you reached in and pulled on the release. So the outside button here wouldn't do anything. So I adjusted the hinges, because this front part of the door was way out too. It wouldn't latch. It was actually just rubbing right here on the body, and the door was all jammed up. So I fixed that. I just like to take a jack and a piece of wood and jack up the door gently so you don't wreck the door, and then just loosen those bolts, and the hinges it'll move in and out this way, and then this part adjusts the door forwards and back when it's shut. Same with the bottom. But so I got that set, but then I pulled the door panel off, and inside there, I'll use a screwdriver to point at it. When you pull on the handle in the inside, it pushes up on this arm here. If you can see that moving in there. Not much light. See if the camera, there we go. Got the camera to pick it up a little better. So here, when you pull on the handle on the inside, see it raises that. And then when you push on the button on the outside, it's supposed to do the same. It wasn't doing it, but I did get it to work. You can see it working now. So what it was, is there's a tiny spring right there at the end of the, see if this will focus, sorry. Right there at the end of the screwdriver, there's a little spring. Well, it fell out, and so the button wasn't doing anything. They would move up and down, but it wouldn't actually pull that lever. So now it's pulling it up and down, and all that's doing, see that big star right there? That's, see if you can see it wiggling there. I'm wiggling it with my hand on the outside. That star wasn't able to release, so I got it now. So let's just see when I shut the door. See, it latches, and now it opens. Perfect. We didn't have that at all before. You'd have to, well, the handle fell off, but you'd have to like jam the handle back and try and get it to release, and it was barely working. You couldn't have the window rolled up because you wouldn't be able to get back in. So the other door is doing the exact same thing. So I'm just gonna, same thing, pull that door panel off and get in there and see if we can get that door opening. Well, I've got the panel off. I'm gonna vacuum out the bottom of the doors because they're just full of pine needles. So that was an easy fix. Alright, a bit of progress on the car. I did get it running pretty well actually, so it wasn't pulling fuel from the tank. And I went and took the cap off the filler neck, and it just made this loud hiss, which means it had like an airlock. So I think it's a vented cap, but I think it must be old and plugged up, because it basically just, it would, the tank was sucking itself shut, trying to pump fuel out of it. So I've left the cap off. I fired it up. It was running great. I had it idling for probably 15 minutes. And of course I didn't actually film this. I was just tinkering around with it. And it was running great. Put it in gear. It moves in gear fine. And touched the brake pedal and it came to a stop like Brakes work surprisingly well. I guaranteed they leak. It's, you know, it's been sitting for a long time, but I was quite impressed that they work. But here's what happened. I had it running, and I did notice there was a big dip in the floor over here. And this carpet was not burned before. So basically what happened was, the car was running, and all of a sudden I started to see a bunch of smoke, and I thought, what is that? And it just stunk. What had happened was the carpet fell down, like I guess it got warm from the exhaust pipe, and there was a huge rust hole here, and the carpet fell down and laid on the exhaust and caught on fire. So I came around to see where the smoke was coming from, and there was flames coming up here, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So shut the car off, and then the carpet's soaking wet because I was spraying it with the hose, trying to, you know, if you guys have ever lit this carpet on fire, it doesn't just burn in one spot. I mean, it slowly spreads, and it's like plastic, it melts. It's just disgusting. Horrible fumes, all that good stuff. So anyways, I got a little hole here now, which is too bad, but the carpet was actually quite nice. I didn't know that was going to happen. Now, I do have these old, like, floor mats, kind of from the 60s, that have come in other parts cars. I'll probably just lay one across, and, you know, it looks the part, whatever. But that's too bad. It was a nice carpet kit, but oh well. But I just cut a piece of tin in a square and put it in there. You can sort of see it there. It's, at least now it's solid, more solid. You can put your feet on it. Your feet don't fall through the floor. Okay, well, the car, I did end up driving it into the shop on the hoist. I was going to film it moving and stuff, but my neighbor came over and I got distracted, and I was, you know, showing him, hey, look, it runs, and we drove it. So anyways, I did drive it in here. I didn't have to pull it with a tractor or anything. Transmission seems to work fine. Obviously, I'm still going to drain the fluid, change the filter, do all the regular maintenance that this thing probably hasn't had in a long time. But nice to know that there's nothing, you know, major wrong with the transmission. That Oldsmobile I just did, that 55, I actually sold it, but unfortunately the guy who bought it, he's just parting it out, which is kind of sad. That was we did all that work to try and put it back on the road, but you know, you can't decide what other people do with the car once you sell it. That's all part of it. So, but that transmission in that car, I never really drove it on the street or anything, and then I did drive it down the road to park it on the side of the road with a for sale sign for a bit. And the transmission, like, it slipped in and out of first constantly, and it was, you know, there's a good sign. Like, even if we did get it on the road, man, it needed some serious attention. But anyways, this thing, it's nice to know the transmission worked. Like, it was pretty strong. You put it in reverse, it immediately shifted, and it didn't slip at all, so that's good. I'll probably do a band adjustment, because, you know, that's supposed to be regular maintenance, and that probably hasn't been done in years and years. That's something that usually gets forgotten. Yeah, I'm going to change this rear bumper, and I figure I'll just get it up on the hoist, and you guys can, you know, we can see underneath and see what it looks like. Okay, so getting my first look underneath here. It's got newer brake hoses. I can see the pins are new for the drums, so somebody was in there doing brakes, and so it would be nice. We'll check out those wheel cylinders and see what they look like. The subframe's in nice shape. These have a bolt-on subframe, I believe, on the front. Maybe not. Maybe that's not till 70. I can't remember, but little tiny Fram oil filter. The motor mounts actually look fairly new. That's a good sign. The fuel lines are old and crusty. Look at that, new strut rod bushings, or newer, right? So somebody, I feel like this poor, oh, that's an interesting spot for the rad, for the spout there to empty it. I've never seen it on the bottom before. Okay, and then looking at the subframe, this subframe's in really nice shape. The whole car is pretty good actually underneath here. There's just that one spot on the passenger floor pan that had rotted through, but the rest of it actually looks really good. I'm quite surprised how solid this is. Somebody obviously loved this thing, and then obviously I'm guessing the you know, the car got sold, you know, who knows, maybe the people got old and their kids inherited the car and just went, I don't want this thing, and they passed it along, they sold it cheap, who knows, all kinds of things happen, but I can't believe how nice this thing is. And I noticed this gas tank actually has like a pepcock on the corner, so I could drain it. It'd be great if we get the fuel gauge working. But the spring mounts look like they're in nice shape. The trunk drops are good. The trunk pan, from what I can tell, looks really good. So somewhere along the line, somebody bought this thing and then, I don't know, gave up on it and just figured, oh, we'll just make it a derby car or something. That's what they were going to do. It'd be such a shame. This thing's in really nice shape. Even the transmission's not leaking where the cable goes in, right here. This is where the push button cable goes in. And usually those leak like crazy because there's just a little O-ring in there. Alright, so transmission is drained. The pan's down there on the floor. It's looking a little bit, you know, it's got some, I'll have to clean it up, but it's got some gray material in it, so maybe that's metal or clutch material, or maybe it's just the color in here, I don't know. It's got a Wix gasket on it. I don't know how old it is, and the filter itself didn't look too bad. I've just done a band adjustment, so I've gone over this before in other videos, but if you guys don't know how to do a band adjustment, you basically tighten, this is the low reverse band, this screw here, and then the kick down band is actually over on the side of the transmission over there, but this one you got to do it from under the pan. So if you're going to drain the fluid to change the filter, you may as well check this, because this is something that gets forgotten all the time. I've bought so many cars, old Chryslers, and guys go, oh, the transmission's done, it you know, it needs a transmission. And if you just take a minute to check the bands, they're often so loose, or they're just way out of adjustment. So all you do, this is the lock nut. See, I've got it loose here because I just did this, but you tighten this in 72 inch-pounds. So you want to use a torque wrench, like a little tiny 1/4 inch torque wrench, or you can do it with your fingers. You basically just use a 5/16 wrench and just tighten it till it just is finger tight. But I like to use the torque wrench because that's what the specs call for. So 72 inch-pounds, you tighten this down till it clicks with the nut off, obviously. Then you back this screw out. A big block 727 is 3 turns on the low reverse and 2 turns on the kick down, and it tells you in the manual. But you just back this out, and I like to mark one side with a Sharpie so I can keep my eye on how many turns I've gone. So I just go 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 1, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 2, and so on. Once you've got that backed out, that's all you do. You got to tighten this lock nut, so you know you want to make sure this screw doesn't spin back in, and then you just tighten that lock nut. And I believe it's 30 foot-pounds, but you can I usually just go till it's nice and snug, that this isn't going to back out. And that's it. That's all there is to it. But that is such a simple little thing that always gets forgotten about. And then, you know, like I said, so many transmissions, guys are going, oh, it's slipping or it's not. Well, it's because the band isn't grabbing. So that's all there is to it. So I'm just going to clean it up, put a new filter in, and I'll clean the pan up and get it back together here. Alright, so transmission filter's done, new gasket on the pan. I also changed that rear brake hose there. The fronts looked like they were changed, but the rear never got changed, so those are pretty easy to do. Just had to heat the line up a little to get it to break free of the hose so I don't strip it. And now onto the rear brakes. I'm going to start on the rears, I'll do the fronts after. So these are the tapered axles you guys may have heard of on early Chryslers. So like 56 to 64, it's threaded on the end, and there's this nut with a cotter pin, and what it is the end of the axle's tapered down, so that when you put the drum on and you tighten it on, it's like a ball joint, right? You have to use a tool to break it free if you want to get it off. The downside to that is to check the brakes, you have to pull the whole hub, and so what you have to use is a hub puller like this. These are special for Chrysler. You can find them. They're on eBay and stuff. I got this one from a guy down island. They're usually about $200. But if you don't have this, there's guys that have come up with ways to get them off. You can loosen the lug nuts and then drive around the block with loose lug nuts and hit the brakes, and it'll bounce it enough that it'll actually break it free. But you sort of run the risk there of wrecking the end of the axle. I find if you smash the end of this thing with a hammer, you can see somebody else already has it, right? They've beat it. So you can hit it with a hammer and you try and shock this free. Okay, here's the puller, it's mounted. So I've just got some tension on it. But yeah, you just use the lug nuts, and this is left-hand thread because it's driver's side and it's Chrysler, so it still has left-hand thread studs. But you just get there's only 3 arms, so you just there's 5 studs, right? So you just pick the 3 you want. And yeah, put some tension on it. And I like to just hit this with the impact a little bit to pull it, and then I whack it with a hammer. And then I hit it with the impact, whack it with a hammer. I've sprayed some penetrating oil in there. You kind of just work it and you hope for the best. Okay, so there you guys saw it pop free, and I'll just pull it off here. I should have left that there. So there we go. There's the hub. It's actually pretty good. The drum looks pretty good. It's got a little bit of rust. And look at that. The wheel cylinders are actually new. All this stuff's new. So somebody obviously was in here and they went through the brakes and they actually tried. It's got new shoes. This is excellent news. I did order wheel cylinders because I just didn't know. I don't want to assume that they're any good. Here's a quick way to see. You pop these little caps off the back, and if they're dripping, then you know you should replace them. However, these ones are not. I can't believe it. So that's okay. Wheel cylinders are cheap, right? Those are cheap. Yeah, this one's perfect. So all I'm going to do is clean up that drum. I'm going to see if there's any grooves in it, if I have to turn it on the lathe. But otherwise, I'm just going to put this back together. I will check the other side and go from there. This is turning out to be an excellent purchase. Alright, this is the front passenger brake. I just got the drum off. So the rear driver's side I didn't change, but the rear passenger side I did. Now I'm on the fronts, and while I'm in here, I'm just going to grease the upper ball joints while the tire's off. But like the brake hoses are actually fairly new. Okay, I've just been changing out the plugs and wires. I was going to do the cap and rotor, but they're actually like brand new. They're just a little dusty. But it's funny that the car ran as well as it did when I drove it in here, because I just noticed number 2 plug wire is completely missing. The plug is, I believe the plug's in there. Yeah, the plug's there, but the wire's missing. So it actually idled extremely well. It drove in here. It didn't feel like it was missing. But I got these plug wires from Rock Auto. I don't love how short they are. This one's like, that's stretched all the way out. It won't even reach the little holder there. So they don't look the best, I guess, but oh well, it's what we got. Okay, I'm just doing a carb rebuild. It's a Stromberg. I didn't realize, I thought it was a Carter actually until I got it off. But the kit that Lordco gave me is for a Holly. So it's here, it's no good to me. So I've started pulling this apart. Now we do have all these gaskets that I actually sort of organized. Different parts, pins. This is mostly 2-barrel stuff. This is all 2-barrel stuff. I've got 4-barrel stuff upstairs. But I sort of organized all this one day and just thought, you know, every time you buy a carb kit, you end up with like 30 extra gaskets and extra pieces. And I thought I should just put all this stuff in some boxes. And that way, when this happens, I've actually got it. So obviously I've rebuilt a 2-barrel Stromberg in the past because I have most of the gaskets. I had this one under here. I have the base gasket right here that goes between the bottom and the middle body here. So I do have most of them. I'm hoping I've got the big one for up here. And I've got all the little, you know, all the balls and stuff. So the check balls. So I'm just going through it. It's actually really clean inside. I'm not too worried. I actually just wanted to make sure the jets weren't plugged and that the needle and seat looked okay before I just go and slam it back on the car. Alright, I just put some fresh gas in it. Carbs back on. I just fired it up a second ago. It seems to be running okay, but it does randomly stall, and I don't know if it's just because it's cold, but even with the choke sort of going, it doesn't want to keep running. Now there was a little spring that I believe went on the float to push the float down, it seemed, but it seemed weird. I don't know, I looked at the service manual and it didn't show anything about that spring, so I don't know what that was all about. Now the spring's not back in. The spring was broken actually, so I'm wondering if that had anything to do with this, but I mean, I did drive it in the shop and it was running on 7 cylinders just fine, and now it's got 8 cylinders and it doesn't want to stay running, but it might just be because it hasn't run in a while. See, it just idles for a second, stalls. It actually was running here for about 5 minutes and then stalled, but I wonder if it just needs to warm up. I'm not sure. Definitely pumping fuel. And you can hear it there, right? Just stalls. So I'll have to look into that, but when it's running it seems to run pretty good. Doesn't miss or anything, but it's just randomly stalling, so not sure what's going on there. Alright, so I'm just working on changing this back bumper. I've already pulled off these bumperettes. They were ordered with the car, kind of neat, but this bumper, now the reverse lights are hanging here too, but it's pretty banged up. It's got lots of little dents and nicks, but then it's hit pretty hard here, and it sort of bent it, and then it looks like it got hit here too, and the bumperette was here, and it obviously smashed the back of the car, and then it just sits real goofy over here. The whole thing's twisted. It's not very good, but inside the car was another bumper, so this bumper is actually really good. You know, it's I'll have to clean it up a bit, but as for dents and how straight it is, man, it's really straight. So I'm gonna pull that one off. I've got all the carriage bolts out. This one I had to cut. It just started spinning, but this one's loose actually. And then the other two are just underneath here, underneath the bumperettes, and they're in good shape. So this should just peel right off here, and I can put the other one on, and that'll be a nice improvement to the back of the car. Okay, bumper's off. Here's the new one ready to go on. I was actually wrong. The bumperettes have nothing to do with the mounting it. The two mounts, there's this one, which was a carriage bolt, and this one was actually on the inside. It's just a bolt. So what it does on the old one here, I'll show you. it mounts to these brackets here, which it's just like a nut welded to the other side, but you can't get to it from the outside, right? So it's sort of a discrete bolt location, but I'm lucky they didn't strip. I was able to get them out. I didn't have to get creative and cut anything. So yeah, I'll just get this new one back on here and should be good. Okay, well here's where we're at with this thing. It's actually been a few weeks since I've done any sort of filming on it, I guess. I actually lost my camera for a couple weeks there. I went to Mopar Madness and misplaced the camera. But anyways, we're back. So this car, I finally got the paperwork for it. I had to do the lost Reggie search through ICBC. I probably explained how it's not really that difficult, but it's just time consuming. It takes a minimum of 2 months, and that's hoping that everything goes smoothly. You're like 2 to 3 months. Anyway, so I finally got the paperwork. It was last registered in Victoria, but I sent the letter with the transfer forms and it came back unopened. So obviously the guy's either passed away or moved, or maybe the house isn't there anymore, who knows. So anyhow, it's in my name. I've actually been driving it around. It runs awesome. So it had an issue. It did have a Pertronics in the distributor. It had Pertronics, and it would do this thing where you'd fire it up and it would die. Start it, it would die. Start it, it would die. So it ended up being, it had a Pertronics and it was just cutting out. It couldn't keep running for some reason, so I just put points back in it. Now, originally I had put a set of points that was in my 67 Newport. They worked fine. I took them out, I can't remember. I think I put electronic ignition in it. But I put those points in here and they worked great. I drove down to the gas station, and when I left the gas station, the car died. It just sputtered and died, and it was the condenser. The condenser died. So I had a brand new set of points that was new old stock. I had actually found it in my grandparents' attic. My papa had a whole bunch of sets of points up there, and I grabbed them all. So one of those is in here. It's running awesome. I've been driving it around. I drove it down to Qualicum Beach. It's awesome on the highway. I have no idea what kind of fuel mileage it gets because the gauge doesn't work, and the temperature gauge doesn't work either. So something in the dash, I feel, it doesn't have one of those voltage limiters, but anyway, something weird's going on. I had to replace the fuel pump because that had died. So now it's you can see the bubble there, like it's pumping tons of fuel now. Carb works great. It's a 2-barrel Stromberg. I had to put this goofy valve in here. That's all I really had to shut the coolant off from going to the heater core, because there's no way to shut the heat off. So these older, you know, my 57, I had a 62 Newport, they've all got this big heater box. Whoops. And these two lines are always disconnected because I think the heater core probably leaks, so they've got it running through the other side here. But charging system works. The horns still work. It hasn't been overheating. This rad is somehow holding. So it's been really good, actually. Other than a basic tune-up, I did end up changing these wheels. So these are 15s. 15-inch steel wheels and tires. The 14s I had, I would have liked to use those wheels that came on it and use the hubcaps that came with it, but the wheels were... The tires were super dry rotted. I didn't feel good about them. And I'm not going to keep this car. You know, I'll drive it around for a couple months and put it up for sale. But I didn't want to list it with these old crappy tires. So these tires are just 15-inch. They're, you know, they're used, but they still got good tread, and there's no dry rotting. And these hubcaps are probably like 70s Chrysler. They do say Chrysler on them. They're kind of whatever. I don't know. They sort of suit the car. You know, people laugh at me about putting hubcaps back on. I actually like hubcaps. Full wheel covers. You don't really see many old cars with them anymore. Back in the day, you had to pay extra money for getting, you know, fancier wheel covers or full-size hubcaps. And nowadays, guys just put them in the trunk, and you always see the car up for sale, and they go, "Oh, it's got the original hubcaps with it." Well, that's cool. But, you know, to me, they look great versus an old rusty steel wheel. I did do some really quick Bondo work on the bottom, and it's terrible. This is horrible. this wasn't me actually, this was here, but it was all cracking, so I just put more in and sprayed it with some maroon paint that kind of matches. I don't know, it's the whole bottom of the car's got about, the whole 4 inches bottom has Bondo all through it. The inside here, I just got some white tape and taped the top of the seat there. It was split wide open, so you'd drive and just all this crap would blow around in here. Just, you couldn't even see. I'm breathing in all this crap from the 60s. You know, these are original seats. Who knows what's in there, but the headliner was falling down. I just sliced the back of it. It's got these bows sort of hold it up. So I just sort of cut it there. You know, the seat's got some tape on it. It's not the best, but it's for an old Survivor that was going to get derbied, it's pretty good. Turn signals work fine, speedometer, all that stuff. You know, the only gauge that really works is the ammeter and the speedometer. Fuel and temp don't work, clock doesn't work. The blower motor works fine, the radio doesn't work. The map light works, and the dome lights work when you open the driver's door at least. But the carpet's in nice shape. You know, it's carpet looks good in the front and the rear. Still got the ashtray back here. It's a pretty cool car. I took it down to our beach meet, and man, everybody running up, looking at this thing, commenting like, wow, you just don't see 64 Chryslers anymore at all. You don't see two-door hardtops either, but you know, an old 80s paint job 64 Newport, you just don't see these. Alright, just Saturday morning here. Cold start, haven't fired it up at all today, so it fires up quick. Give it 3 pumps. That's it. Fired up, oil lights on. It shuts off once it builds oil pressure. Yeah, I'll just let it warm up here, and we'll head down the road. I got to go over to the place called Irritex. They sell filters and stuff for your well. We're on a well here, so got to go get a filter and take this thing on some errands. Alright, so being a 64, it's got the park lever, so you just put it up and then you put it in drive. The only noise this thing really makes is in the rear end, those old shocks with the big coil springs on them. I think they're making some noise, just because it probably sat so long. Like this, I'm not pushing on the gas, but you can't even hear it running. All I hear is the transmission. This thing is super quiet. I have no issues with that. For once I don't have to yell talking into the camera. Not like when we drive the dump truck around, man. I can't even hear myself think in that thing. Horn works. It's got one little weird issue with the right turn signal. The rear turn signal, I think it's a grounding issue. When you do the left turn signal, you know, the front signals work fine. The rear left works great. The rear right, it's super dim, and both taillights end up flashing very dimly. So I think it has something to do with, oh yeah, there's the right signal. Inside works too, which is nice. on the dash there. But I don't know if the left one works. No, it doesn't. But the rear, when you do the rear, the right turn signal in the back, sometimes it works fine. Sometimes it makes both lights flash super dim, like as if your hazards are on. I don't even think this thing has a hazard switch. So that's kind of, I think it's a grounding issue. I think what it's doing is it's barely got a ground and it's actually pulling power through both tail lights, perhaps, and making them both flash. That'd be my guess, but that needs a little bit of finicking. Otherwise, I haven't had to do too much electrical. Like the headlights, everything that's in it was in it, and everything seems to work. The dome lights work fine. I don't know about the dash lights. I haven't really driven it too much in the dark yet, because it stays light till about 9 o'clock, but and I really got to clean the glass. The front window's not too bad. It's been replaced. It's got the sort of that tinted top, and it doesn't have a Chrysler part number in the middle, so it's been replaced. But the side windows, I don't know, you probably can't tell. They're just disgusting. They're covered in grease and dirt. Alright, just got fuel. It used 29 liters, or that's what it took. So, I don't remember if I actually filled the tank last time or if I just put a lot of gas in. But 29 liters, driving down, drive to Qualicum Beach. That's about 20 minutes on the old highway. I don't know. It's average for a 60 C body, that's for sure. Fires right up immediately. Oh, one of the neat things here, I'll show you quick, in case I forget. Because I actually didn't know you could do this on these cars with the park lever. But, say you come to a stop and you want to put it in park, you don't have to push neutral. You can just pull the park lever, and it puts it in neutral for you and park. So that's pretty cool. I never really knew you could do that. I figured that out on that 62 Valiant. It also had a park lever. I usually have older stuff, like 57. My 57 Dodge doesn't have a park lever. It just has the parking brake that you have to pull the handle, and it pulls that drum around the drive shaft. But it's kind of handy. You don't have to put it in neutral and then park. You can literally just pull that lever. I mean, I guess that's a little dangerous if you're whipping down the highway and you pull the lever. You'd end up just breaking the park pin. I'm gonna have to figure out that taillight issue. I just put my right turn signal on to turn into this place, and some lunatic behind me just about rear-ended me because maybe the signal wasn't flashing. I mean, I don't know why you drive that close behind somebody, but he was. Nice old first gen Cummins there. Don't see many of these around that are that clean anymore. They didn't have what I needed, unfortunately, so now we gotta go to the other place, but that's okay. This place is way cheaper than the other place, so that's too bad. But man, I've been on a well for, we've been there for 15 years, been on that well, and it's fine, but, whoa, bumpy. It's fine, but people always think, well, being on a well means you get free water. Nope, it's the opposite. Being on a well means you have constant maintenance. Filters, you gotta have safe drinking water, so you need a UV light and filters and more filters. We've got rentals, and so people, your water's got a slight smell, and they get upset, and so you're spending money on more filters. So I go to get this filter, and the guy's like, that's a super uncommon filter. Good luck finding that. Oh, that's nice. So, anybody who thinks living on a well means you get free water, don't be mistaken. Just, if you live in the city and you gotta pay the annual, water fee, just be happy with that. I mean, I love well water. It's the actual water is super clean and it's not full of bleach, but at the same time, don't think that it's that well water is free. Anyways, not really where I can take this on the highway to go quick, but I did drive it down to Coombs the other day, and you know, I was probably doing 60 miles an hour, and it just floats. And the nice thing, like, the steering wheel stays straight. The front end's not all worn out and sketchy. It's actually a really nice driving car. Very good purchase. Alright, got the filter. 65 bucks. That's going to last hopefully 3 months. Not 1 month, but we'll see. Can't believe these seats are original. They're actually in really nice shape, and they're still comfortable. It's not like they're all crusty and you sit on them and they split. This seat I'm sitting on is really comfortable. I got a really bad back. Bench seats are the thing to sit on. Bucket seats they're not good for me, but they look cool, but they hurt my back. Wish the radio worked, but the tuning knob, or the knob for picking the stations, doesn't do anything. Odometer reads 06720, which I feel like is 106. I don't think it's 206. This thing runs too good and too quiet to have 206,000 miles on it. Door panels are original. Still got all the little chrome thingies in them. They're neat. I love the styling. You know, the 64 is a funny year. 65 is when they changed, and you know, a lot of people know the 65 Chrysler. That 66 Chrysler I had, that yellow one, that was same as 65, same body style. But 63 and 4 were weird years, because 62 was the last of the forward look cars. 63, they hired on a new designer. I think that was the Elwood Angler, is that his name, from Ford? So a lot of the Chryslers in the mid-60s sort of look like mid-60s Mercurys and stuff, but he you know, the cars kind of got these boxy designs, yet they still held on to some of the forward look stuff. You know, the front end is very reminiscent of a 62 Dart, the way the fenders curl around, and these gauge clusters are really cool. They were sort of going for like an airplane look, and they definitely nailed it. They got all these little round pods and round gauges, and yeah, they're neat cars. You don't see many these headliner bows, right? This is very early 60s, late 50s kind of thing. Those door panels are very forward look. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. That'll do it on the 64 Chrysler. I'm probably going to drive it around for a couple months, and then I'll list it for sale. I don't really know what it'll ask yet. But I just figured, you know, I wish I could keep them all, but I don't have space. And you guys have seen my backyard. You're probably wondering how I do this all the time. You know, a bigger property would be great, but unfortunately that's just not in the cards right now. So I'm going to call it here, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate everybody subscribing and keeping up with what I'm doing. And I hope you enjoyed this revival of a 64 Chrysler Newport, sitting since 1998. We got documents from the original owner, all kinds of cool stuff. So, right on. We will see you on the next one.